all right. I just wanted you all to see the dusting of the snow on this bench to prove the high intensity nature of this here video. Because you can't really see it all that well otherwise. Also, just would like to point out that I'm only wearing a fur coat right now. That's right. Makes it very intense, makes it very titillating, interesting, Twitter-pating. Anything else you want to add aiding to? Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of had to throw it together. I made that all one word. Sure. Can see my breath. Happy spring, everyone. Here we are, day 103. Wee wee. And it is April 13th, I think, 14th, thereabouts. So it's early spring, so naturally we have snow dumping on us all this week. And I'm out on my back porch, and it's very cold, and there's a really beautiful fairy dusting of snow coming down. And see, still trying to quit that trying to quit. I also haven't had a puff of pot in 6 days. Feels like a big deal to me. Trying to cope with these horrible headaches, so I'm, whenever something's going on with you, they always suggest that you cut out the only enjoyable things in your life, such as marijuana, coffee, chocolate. Basically my only pleasures, really. Three of my only real vices. And of course, those are the things they're like, well, you'll have to ditch those. Dang it, with the It is so deeply ingrained. You try it. You try talking in 103 videos and see if you can stop yourself from saying It's outrageous. So, therefore, just keep using words instead of that sound that comes out so naturally. I gotta be honest, I have so many cool poems that I keep stashing away because I want them to be in new and interesting locations. And I tell ya, I just go anywhere amongst the Homo sapiens, anywhere I go where Homo sapiens are involved. I gotta show you my cool lion's head. It's like the old MGM logo, kind of gangster style. But yeah, when the peoples are out, which they are everywhere, there's nowhere you can go. I just get sent away. I feel like I can't do it. I just scurry back into this little snow flurry of loneliness. Whether there's snow or not, interpret as you shall. But it's been difficult trying to do the whole job hunting thing, trying to reinvent myself, be a new person at age 35. Very soon to be 36. Ick. I shouldn't even say those numbers because my answer forever, if someone asks me, one of those peoples out in the world, and they say, well, how old are you? My answer is always, and I've probably told this joke before, but I'll tell it again. My answer is always, well, I'm not 18. That's it. That's going to be the answer for the rest of my life. I'm not 18. But it is fun when I tell people when I do finally cave and say the number of Earth rotations, they're pretty surprised. So that's a good feeling. And I've played a 17-year-old twice in the last 3 years, so we have to be very strategic here because, as I said, throwing this together, and I thought, well, what's sort of deep and weird and avant-garde? I know. I'll be one of Don Draper's conquests. You remember that when he had her wear the fur coat and nothing else? So scandalous. Makes me feel like a Bond girl or isn't that sad though? How you can't ever own that level of sexual fierceness unless you are a somebody's somebody. Like your Don Draper's arm candy, or you're a Bond girl. You're not just like the badass girl on your own. You belong to Bond. You are of his cabinet of titties. Yeah, that's unfortunate. We should really change that. We should make a movie that's just all fierce babes wearing only fur coats and kicking ass, and they don't answer to anyone. There's no Bosley on the other line, and there's no Bond, and there's no Dawn, and it's just them, and they are that way because they want to be that way. Intellectual property, leave it alone. So anyway, I like that idea. I really do. It should be a new movement. And they've got the knives in their garters, but they're smarter than to make it all about some dude. I like this. It's giving me a whole mood, as they say. Let's make it. So I just sort of threw this together, and it's very cold, and it's snowing, and these headaches are ruining my mood on a very regular basis. There's also some sort of creature. I heard it in the field back there that was kind of like... And it freaks me out having my back to it. Really does. Makes me feel less brave by the second. So if you see a set of eyes back here, you'll know. Poetry had to be cut short. But speaking of short, I'm going to try to keep it that way, because it's late and got a lot on my plate, despite being jobless and scared and haven't a clue what to do, really. But here I am, naked as a jaybird in a fake fur coat. I think the coat is fall fur, for anyone who wants to get up in arms about it. I'm not trying to like answer to you, really, but I am just giving full disclosure. This, I believe, is fake seas. This is velvet. This, I think, is real. It's some really cool hat company. What was it called again? It's definitely very old, vintage. Clayton, ABC, Montreal, Paris. Yeah, there you go. ABC, Montreal, Paris. I think it's real, but I don't know. You can judge me if you want. There's certainly a whole host of other things you could judge me about that would be a little more scandalous and juicy, probably. But as far as all that goes, I definitely agree that fur should stop being made, because I don't think we really do anything in an appropriate way anymore, or in a thoughtful or non-controversial way. I think that there is just too much waste and consuming and gobbling of the entire planet in general, animals and plant life alike. But the only fur that I do own is super vintage. Like this, I believe, is from the 40s. So, I don't know. If something was made 50 years before I even entered the picture, it's kind of like being mad at your partner for a lover they had before you met them. Like, it really didn't... You weren't involved. It had nothing to do with you. I don't know. The morality of it, I could get into, but when it's been sold and sold again, and it's existed for so long, and it's still in such a beautiful condition, and it keeps your head so dang warm, I do try to investigate the companies that I eat the food from, and you try to be good, but I'm telling you, these days, you're bound to find a documentary about anything that you like or enjoy or put on your body. Like, if you want to be a non-hypocrite and just be totally good, you're gonna go ahead and have to just be naked, foraging for your own food. Because there's no way to do it in a convenient way without some sort of moral bub. So, hate to tell ya, but you can do all the research you want, and a lot of times that organic stamp It's just a stamp. And there can still be a lot of really horrible things wrong with the company, or so on and so forth. You see what I'm trying to say, right? It's like we can keep each other in check for our behavior towards each other, try to make better choices. You know, we bought those cool like net grocery bags, which were pretty pricey, but it makes us feel better not having to use all that damn plastic, trying to cut back, trying to do better. But you can really dig. You can find documentaries about the rarest and strangest downfalls of humanity, and they're kind of in every corner of everything we do. Woohoo! It's weird being alive. So there you go. There's my rant. Or apology. Like R.I.P. to this beautiful creature 40, 50 some odd years ago. I'm sorry that you had to die, but wow. You know, I'm keeping my head really warm right now. Thank you. And I also, feel some sort of patch up, or I don't know, things evened out in some sort of way, because I learned so much about my dad, being really focused on Native American practices with hunting and being really grateful and using the whole animal, and I was involved in that, and, well, not involved in the yucky, really gory parts, but certainly in the parts that he used the whole dang thing and taught me about it. And so, I don't know, that kind of blah, blah, blah. I try to be a good person. The end. I try my best. But this little number, I believe, is fake, but the buttons are really cool. Still being cautious, still being conscientious, still moving with great delicacy here so as not to be too shocking. Yeah. So we'll get to it. Basically picked these, as I said. I keep holding on to these special ones because I'm like, well, I can only like put up a cloth on the wall in my basement so many times, or go in so many corners of my bedroom, and it is cool. There's a lot of I've made my entire home a shrine, so there's a lot of cool backdrops and things to find and things to know and things to see, but I really want some new scenery, and I just can't seem to bear facing the humanoids. So I'll try to get more brave. Getting vaccinated for the first time on 4/20, and I'm horrified, terrified, just so scared, couldn't be more scared. So wish me luck. But hopefully that will, once I get the second dose, I'll feel some little bit teeny better about going amongst the others. But it's beyond about being about the virus anymore. It's about more than the virus. It's the way people have behaved, the way people have chosen to take this global reset button and do pretty much nothing with it, and just go back to the exact same behaviors and attitudes and ludicrous ways of being around each other. Not a fan. I'm not really a fan. So I'm sad about that. We had such an opportunity to change it up, paint some happy trees, make things better, be more kind, rewind some damage, do some damage control, and I don't know. We're like, nah, I'm good. Just go back on a roll, back right where we were. Same shit. Same scroll. I'm not good enough. More. What do I need? Stuff. Rudeness, shoviness. It's kind of how it feels. So, hey, it's really, 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 really cold out here. It's snowing. I wish you could kind of see it. It's like the faintest, softest little kiss from the heavens. But it is snowing. So, I picked these out of, I've always had these Wee Moon calendars. I need a new one. This is the first year I haven't had one because I just haven't ventured out of the house much. If barely at all. But I have always had these Wee Moon calendars, and they tell you like the days of the week in different languages, and celebrations and holidays that are celebrated in different countries, things that you can celebrate about the moon and the stars. It gives you just so much more information than a normal calendar does. It gets you really involved in what the days mean and what the passage of time means and what happened on this day 2,000 years ago and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's poetry and it's art, so it's cool. And I have always kept them, and I dug out some from a particular year where there was a lot of falling in and out of love, a lot of intensity. I was in LA for half of it and then back in Colorado for half of it. And gosh, my heartstrings were just snapping from being strummed so much. And it was wild, like every single day trying to read like what my thoughts were and what was happening on that day. It was just a million scribbles and thoughts, and so much was occurring, and I couldn't even read some of it. And it was very saturated. It was a very saturated year, and you would think that I would bother to look at what year it was. I'm gonna say, ooh, time, the passage of time. Wish I could rewind. What the heck? I guess it would have been 2006, 2005 or 2006. Lifetimes go by and you don't even notice. It's a blinkety blink. It's stressful. So, I will give you some things. And these were all poems written inside that Wee Moon journal, that one of them was scribbled so furiously in the tiniest, blurriest pencil I could hardly decipher it. It was like cracking some sort of a code just to read it. But they were all written in moments of standing outside in the dark, begging for a spark, praying for a spark, wishing for a spark, wanting more, needing more, not being able to decide, being scared of myself and what was inside my heart, and having health issues, and yeah, going to the ocean alone in the dark, or standing out in my backyard praying to Venus alone in the dark. I write a lot about Venus because she's my astrological ruling planet, and she just speaks to me. I don't know how else to describe it. There's this view of her from my backyard, this tree that died, this massive tree that we're probably going to have to spend way too much money to take down, unfortunately, because it's now becoming this really terrifying kingdom for hornets, which is horrifying, and I'm allergic to them. And it's dead, which sucks. But when it was alive, I used to go and touch it, and it was really big, and just hold it, and you could see Venus right at the top of it most nights, just professing love to the galaxy and singing her songs and just being alive. It was so wild. I mean, vibrant communication, Morse code of blinking. So, yeah, some of this is in the dark at night at the beach, in the dark at night in my backyard, or in the dark at night in the weird little square of grass in the courtyard of my apartment complex. Just sort of asking the night sky for answers. So that's the theme that runs amongst them all. And gosh, I just have so much I'm stashing up for you, but we'll get to it. I just keep trying to bravely venture the world out there. And I'm afraid I'm not faring very well with it. It's rather scary. There's so many weird little noises. I don't know what to think. There's definitely creatures out here, but it's okay. We'll just be at harmony with them and hope that they like poetry. So, keeping it kind of short tonight. Thanks for being with me, day 103. No super salacious stories to reveal other than just the fact that I couldn't even keep track of all the times I felt like I was falling in love this year. There was a lot to feel. So, I will give it to you presently. This first one is called Maybes and Shrugs, the New Designer Drugs. You are Venus's child. Gotta be a spring for yourself. Oh, please don't push that button, baby. Gimme maybe over no any day, and I'll wade waist deep with the sharks and gators thick in the water. As long as you say maybe, you'll save me. That oughta totter. Venus digs her nails in deep along my collarbone. Her tone is low, and if you press your ear to the ground just so, you might catch a chord. All aboard for the biggest blow on earth. Win your worth in gold coins, but the joke's on you. They're filled with chocolate melting to goo on the lonely playground blacktop, boiling in the shade. Self-made men who need no wombs to attune to, need no feminine archways to touch. Use me as a crutch. Use me as a crutch for a while, then sweep that pile straight under the rug, heart tug. Why don't we all just shrug it off? We forgot how to be soft. Mama, the money men are at the door again. We make pretend how to fend. So yeah, this must have been actually 2007 or 2008, because what that one refers to is actually pretty sad. I mean, it had a happy outcome, but the bank almost foreclosed on my house, and there was actual like weird creepy cars parked outside my house taking pictures of our house and shit, and they were coming for us, and we had to jump through the hottest, most horrible flaming hoops to save this house. And it was right after acting school, and it was horrifying. It was really scary. So they were kind of staking out this place, my childhood home, to flush it. Just grab it. Just treat it like nothing. Because they do that to people. And it's insane. So that happened. Yeah. It was very, very difficult, very painful, very much of a process. Very difficult of a process to get it back, but we did. We got it. We kept it. So, which one should I do first? I'll do the shorter one first. Full of heat, wanting a carpet ride. The moon pokes her head out coyly from her blanket. A pool of tears pours paint buckets full from her face, gulping languidly, focused squarely toward the ocean. Venus is her confidant, the galactic voyeur, peeping through the clear window, catapulting me in cunt-cloistered crescendo clouds, creamily towards her clumsy reveries. Turn all the stars off, the radio suddenly coos. She patsy wails about that age-old river of tears. Guess it's one of those Saturn rings we gals spin on simultaneously through most any decade, famously never able to keep our pillows dry. So that was, I do remember this one. Like, I'd come home from LA, I was bummed, like I'm still supposed to be in Hollywood, being famous already, and everything felt very definitively over, you know, just I suck and it's over is how it felt. But I did my prayer and my longing outside to the moon and to Venus, and then I just took a drive to just feel the things you feel when you need to take a drive. And I have no idea what the song is. I could try to find it with one of those little lyric finders, but it was some old song. Turn all the stars off was in the song. I don't know what the song was. And I say she patsy wails because she kind of sounded like Patsy Cline. But yeah, all of us gals always crying about our wet pillows, longing for some dildo who didn't give a damn. Really is what it boils down to. All of these all of these poems are definitely saturated in somebody who wasn't matching me where I wanted to be matched or catching what I was trying to throw. That's the way it goes. So this is the last one for the evening. Sort of a short rundown here, but that's okay. Most of them are infinitely long. So this final one is called "It Runs Around for a Time with No Head." Mushroom hunting, crystal hunting, rock hounding, the people, planets, stars, and dimensions are waking up from amnesia. We are all one of a kind. You are one of my kind. Automatic writing. Remember me if you can when you awaken. We're about to be visited. Draw the right ones near you. Quit hitting snooze. Don't sleep in the cold. Be bold with your mystical doorbell ringing. You like zombies, huh? Well, baby, I feel like one. Hark the well-disguised body snatchers come, and we twiddle our uncelebrated thumbs like it's all just late-night TV. If I'm alive now, then what other chance might there possibly be? The kids, they is under some heavy spell, and I can't tell if I'm one of 'em. Dash it, feelin' mighty dumb. Should a bomb sheltered the old heart from the starting gun, batten down the hatches. A pretty and sharpened talon snatches the dwindling remains I try in vain to replenish. Pecking down at the ground in a hennish frenzy, suddenly realizing we're back at the barnyard in a no-holds-barred battle for love and bread, and they'll shove you around, headless or not. So obviously I was going for the, chicken with its head cut off. Hennish pecking. Hennish isn't a real word, but that's why I love poetry, because you can make up a word, because hennish should be a word. You can just picture them there being all hennish in their hen ways with their henliness. So that's what I got for you tonight. It's a little bit of a weird one. Of course, there's still dogs barking, because, it's late at night, so why wouldn't they be? Eyes still twitching. It's like the good night moon books. Good night, late night barking dogs. Good night, 2-month-long eye twitch. Good night, fairy snow. Good night, moon glow. All that. That actually reminds me that the last poem, one of the references was about this person I connected to recently that I really needed to connect to and have been thinking about deeply and constantly for years. Just spinning my frickin' gears thinking they hated me or something, when really it was just a mix-up, which is often the case. It's like running for someone at the airport and you just missed them, so you give up or something like that. But it's just, I just brought up that reference, and it's cute because I remember speaking to him on the phone once, and we were doing like the kind of long distance thing, and he said, or I said to him, "I'm reading the book." And I didn't specify. It was a book that he had told me to read, and so I said, "I'm reading the book," and he said, "Good night, moon?" It was like maybe one of the top 3 cutest things I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Like, the good book is Good Night, Moon. And I think it was actually what is it? Black Elk Speaks. Black Elk Speaks. Definitely a book you gots to read. But he had recommended it so enthusiastically that I went out and bought it. Said, "I'm reading the book." "Oh, Good Night, Moon." It's just like, that will never leave my mind because it's just too freaking precious. So, all these things that weave into your heart and soul, I'm glad I'm putting them on the interwebs. I hope more people find them and watch them and find some comfort in them. And yeah, wear your best bling and sing to the stars and planets and to the moon and swoon about it. Ask for what you need and see what happens. Don't be afraid to. I have a thing up in my bedroom, which I think was another combination, like Momo and I created it by I wrote a bit, then she wrote a bit, so many things like that, where we were just constantly weaving this tapestry of words. And it says, don't be afraid to ask to be kissed the way you want to be kissed. It's important. Seemed important to say that. Just ask. Just ask the sky. Ask the elements. Ask whatever God you have tasked with giving your heart to. Gee, 103. That's a lot of days. I will say good night, and I will implore you to join me once again for day 104, when we will dive into more. So, let's get on that super cool, badass babe story about some babes who take all the glory and don't need no honcho in charge. Right? Right. Okay. I'm gonna go put pants on and be cozy, because my nose is getting rosy, as are my cheeks, with this snowy week. And there's gonna be more in store. I think by the end of the week we'll have maybe another 5 or 6 inches on the ground, and we'll see what sort of poetry can be found with that spring storm. So I'm gonna go get warm. Love ya.